name is Margaret Sayers. I am the clerk of the Abington Friends School Committee. I'm a member of Abington Meeting, and in just a few minutes, I will be the mother of a graduate and a rising 11th grader, both lifers. Before we begin, please join me in a moment of shared silence in the manner of friends. Thank you. On behalf of the school committee, many of whom are seated here today, it is both a great privilege and a great pleasure to welcome you to commencement for the class of 2016 Abington Friends School's 319th graduating class. The rest of this beautiful afternoon will be all about celebrating the kind and accomplished young men and women who are seated on the stage, as it should be. But these young people did not get to this stage alone. I would like to take a moment to honor their supporting casts. Because this is my 4th year as clerk, I struggled to find a fresh way to express my gratitude to these very deserving folks. So I did what I always do when something is too heavy for me to lift or too technological for me to figure out. I turned to some young people for help. And in fact, I turned to these young people. So in true Quaker fashion, my remarks were written by committee. So first, I would like to address our amazing parent body. And when I say parent, I mean anyone who is responsible for bringing these kids to AFS and helping them succeed here. So here are just a few expressions of gratitude from your children in their words. I am especially grateful to my parents for working so hard to be able to send me to this school. Sometimes I forget that everything that they do is to make my life better than the lives they had, and I will be eternally grateful to them for doing so. I am so grateful to my parents for supporting my development as an artist by driving me to rehearsals, taking me to see shows, and constantly emphasizing that my passions are valid. My mom has sacrificed everything for me to be at AFS, whether it was driving me an hour and 15 minutes to school or just constantly working her butt off to make payments. There are no words I could say to show her how grateful I am for sending me to a place I have come to call my second home. And finally, my parents were simply always here for me. I joined these students in saying, thank you, parents. And now for our amazing faculty that are way over there. The expressions of gratitude from your students were voluminous. So I am just going to read off a sampling of the many things, both big and small, for which they express thanks. In their own words, time given outside of class, how our teachers conduct class in a way that is engaging, interesting, and active. The way teachers make the classroom a space of acceptance. Donuts on Fridays. The bonds and connections with a lot of my teachers that have helped shape me into the man I am today. Teaching me the art of conversation, verbally and through written word, and most importantly, through silence. Wanting nothing but the best for me and going out of their way to make sure I got there. Taking the time to get to know me, pushing me past my comfort zone, gluten-free treats, puzzles in the library, being not just my teachers, but also my friends. I join them in saying, thank you, faculty. And with a personal shout out to my parents and my sister, I want to welcome everyone.
Hi. My name is Ann Silba, and one thing that you all should know about me is that I peaked in high school. So it's all downhill from here. And as much as it sounds like a joke, and I wish it weren't true, when I look back at my time at AFS, I feel like it really might be accurate. AFS has given me everything I could have possibly wanted in an education and more, so is there really any way that I can be a better version of myself than the person that I've become here? Let me give you some examples. When I first came to AFS in 6th grade, I didn't really know what I was good at or what I wanted to do. When asked my skills as a young kid, I would answer that I was good at watching TV, which I was, but Thankfully, my teachers and peers at AFS saved me from that mashed potato brain fate by introducing me to all the things that I am passionate about today. Our middle school girls a cappella group prompted me to join the Philadelphia Girls Choir, and my freshman half-year drawing course taught me to love portraiture and charcoal life drawings. Through theater productions, sports teams, and clubs, I formed an identity that I am proud of. I shudder to think of the glassy-eyed Netflix addict I would have become if it hadn't been for AFS. My involvement in these new, exciting activities also led me to create deep friendships that have lasted for 7 years. And now, even in my senior year, when I thought there was no one new left to meet, I find myself embarking on new relationships. So you really can't blame me for thinking that maybe this is the best it's going to get, because how could things possibly be better than how they are now when I'm surrounded by so many people that I love? I am also realizing how lucky I have been to be a part of AFS's academic community. When I was off doing my senior independent project, my SIP, my dad asked me what I miss most about being at school, and I realized that it was my classes. I miss the satisfying feeling of solving a hard calc problem, one of the ones that would make Niall say, "Oh, this is beautiful math." I miss drawing in the art room while listening to Amy's weird art tunes. I miss Jenny B's magnetic passion for poetry and her fanboys. I missed Mary's competitive games of Pictionary and Taboo in Spanish. And I miss Jordan's elaborately drawn physics problems featuring our very own JJ swinging from a Tarzan-like vine. Somehow, all of our teachers at AFS have tricked us into loving school. I have been immensely happy to be learning, a reality which I know is unfortunately rare amongst high school students, so I'm incredibly grateful. So you can really see now why I think I have peaked. High school is famously one of the most tricky and delicate times in a person's life, full of unnecessary insecurities and drama. Yet despite the occasional rough couple of weeks here and there, I have managed to be so happy at AFS. But all jokes aside, I know that I haven't peaked, and here's how I know. 319 is an amazing class. It is stocked with so many talented people, which can easily be seen by the art up on the walls, the crowds of supporters at sporting events and theater productions, the colleges we're headed off to, and the music that drifts in from the music wing, or on especially nice days, straight from outside. Our class is creative, supportive, and opinionated, and I couldn't be prouder or luckier to be a part of it. When I look at each and every person in this class, I see someone who has so much to say and so much to do, and I know that the class of 2016 hasn't peaked at all. At this school, we have been given the opportunity to be the best version of ourselves we can be. I learned to be happy with who I am, and this is a skill that I will carry with me forever. I'm terrified to leave, but I know that I am more than ready, so it's time for 319 to disperse into the world and show them what we got.
Honored guests, Abington Friends School leadership, faculty, families, friends, and fellow graduates, my name is Joshua Diamond, and I'm honored to be speaking here this evening. We live in a world of great potential and imminent danger, a time of unprecedented communication and connection, as well as significant divisiveness and isolation from ourselves, from each other, from those who have a different point of view. We are entering a world that appears to be in conflict with itself. According to The Atlantic, Americans feel that our country is more divided than it has been at any point since the Great Depression, excluding only the Civil Rights era. Quite a bold statement for a supposedly progressive time. We see it in media brawls about legal and moral disputes in American society. We hear it through incendiary and hurtful statements of political campaigns proclaiming the intolerance of alternative viewpoints on both the right and the left. And we experience it every day when people argue with closed minds. But we are entering a world that needs the perspective we have gained at Abington Friends School. At AFS, we were driven to explore topics from multiple viewpoints, to think independently, to pursue knowledge of the world and people around us, to gain insight into cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives different from our own, to enter into dialogue even when the issues are challenging, so we can move beyond preconceived notions. We have been encouraged to challenge our limits and surpass our own expectations. We have been pushed out of our comfort zones in order to grow and more fully understand the world around us. There is something special about Abington Friends School that sets it apart, and that uniqueness is reflected in all of us, the 319th graduating class of Abington Friends School. All right, yeah. Now, take a moment to let that sink in. 319 years. AFS was founded 89 years before the signing of the Declaration of Independence. 319, we are the beneficiaries of a powerful legacy and more than 3 centuries of tradition that remains as relevant as ever in today's world. Our education has instilled in us the ideals that each person has an inner light, that mind, soul, that is invaluable and ought to be expressed and nurtured. We should appreciate just how profound this is in an educational institution. Speaking from experience, many schools insist that students conform rather than express their depth and individuality. It is easier for a school to label a student and move on rather than nurture a student's gifts and talents that lie just beneath the surface. At AFS, we have been routinely encouraged to question and explore our interests and develop abilities. We haven't simply memorized math formulas and biological systems. We have learned from real scientists to employ scientific method and to always ask questions. Through the arts, we have learned to appreciate beauty in all forms, the discipline required to achieve mastery, and the trust needed to perform in a troupe. And we did this by studying every day with gifted musicians, artists, and actors. We have come to understand literature from writers and poets who regularly publish and perform their carefully crafted words. We have learned from passionate historians how to investigate the past with honesty and integrity. And most importantly, we have learned there are 2 sides to every argument. And to make the best argument, you must fully understand each side. And our clubs and activities have helped us become more aware and accepting of each other, embracing our differences in order to form closer bonds. Our teachers and mentors have often discovered skills in us that we may not have seen in ourselves. It is this wonderful faculty who have helped us grow into the 73 outstanding athletes, musicians, mathematicians, scientists, historians, artists, and so much more, whose collective identity is 319. We may be entering a world of massive economic, ecological, and moral turmoil, but so have many of the 318 graduating classes before us, who lived through tyranny, revolution, slavery, the Civil War, recessions, depressions, stock market crashes, 2 world wars, the Cold War, the War on Terror, environmental harm, and the repeated oppression of people based on race, ethnicity, religion, gender, and sexuality. It's a lot of problems. But those 318 classes were uniquely qualified to improve the world around them, and so are we. Fear not the darkness and uncertainty of the world around us, for darkness is only the absence of light. And each of us has a powerful light that we can use to enlighten the world and those around us. Darkness cannot diminish light, but light can diminish darkness. When I look at you all and see the hope and ambition in your eyes, I have nothing but optimism for the future of our generation, our communities, and our world. Class of 2016, the 319th graduating class of Abington Friends School. Let's go well.
Good evening. I'm Chelsea Alexander, a proud member of the class of 2016. 4 years ago, we typically tiptoed through AFS, wide-eyed as nervous freshmen, and here we are now, 4 years later, graduating seniors. I want to take us all back for a moment to our sophomore retreat, where our identity as a class truly began. We spent the day at a camp, helping each other climb over walls and get through obstacle courses. That day, I was finally able to face my lifelong fear of heights as my advisory members helped me over the towering wall. I realized then that I could always trust and count on the people sitting here behind me. We were given a class challenge that day, standing in a circle and trying to pass a styrofoam brick from person to person and not to drop them, but without using our hands. It sounds easy, but it took a lot of teamwork as we struggled for a half hour trying to make it all work. Laughter ensued and leaders emerged. Our whole class came together then, and to keep that feeling alive, we brought back one of the bricks with a big 319 written on it, which is a symbol of the foundation of the legacy we wanted to leave behind. Every time I think of this brick, I remember that I am resilient, respectful, and responsible, the 3 R's that Rusty called on us to live up to. When I look at my class, I see resilient, respectful, and responsible stewards of the AFS community. We are resilient by tackling challenges courses while transcending our academic expectations and reaching our college goals. We are respectful because we have learned to honor and appreciate the faculty who have taught and loved us. And we are responsible because we have led this community confidently and enthusiastically. As a leader in this community, we have also sought to groom emerging leaders to fill our place as we take our next step. All of us behind us are sitting here aspiring towards making a difference for those who cannot make a difference for themselves in different ways. 319, though sad to leave, is ready to move on, and I'm confident that we are all ready to make remarkable change in this world. In this moment, I stand before you with great pride. I have never been prouder to say that I am part of the 319th class of the Abington Friends School. I have never been more proud to call those sitting before you my classmates and, more importantly, my friends. I have never been prouder of the 99 times we have fallen or of the 100 times that we got up. I hope that in the future, when we get to our 20th high school reunion, we will still have this deep connection to each other and to the school that has nurtured us. It is my honor to introduce our speaker today, Camille Coleman, an AFS lifer who graduated 20 years ago with the class of 1996. She has come to talk to us from the perspective of 20 years later, to share with us how AFS helped her become the person she is and share her vision for us as a graduating class. After her own graduation from Abington Friends School, Camille earned a bachelor's degree in biology and society from Cornell University in 2000. And went on to earn a master's degree in public health from Drexel in 2003. Camille is now in her 11th year as a health education specialist at Drexel University at the Marian Anderson Comprehensive Sickle Cell Care and Research Center at St. Christopher's Hospital for Children. She manages a newborn screening follow-up program and a school intervention program, providing comprehensive support for children with the disease. Along with helping the children, she works closely with parent support groups. She has fulfilled one of the dreams she had when she graduated from AFS, which was to take action to improve people's lives, especially in the African American community. She is living proof that the education and the values that we all have embraced here can be translated into actions that help make the world better. I hope that we can live up to her example. And without further ado, I would like to welcome home Camille Coleman.
Good evening to the class of 2016, to their families and friends, to the faculty, administration, and school committee of AFS, and to all of the alumni who, like me, have come back to a school we love. Never would I have thought that 20 years after graduating, I will be back in this wooded grove as one of the few people with the honor of addressing the graduating class this evening. This is a testament to how life can come full circle in ways you least expect. To be honest, I initially was intimidated by the task of providing words of wisdom and encouragement to you as you embark on the next phase of your lives. I calmed my nerves and thought, who better than me? An AFS lifer who has literally sat where you are sitting this evening. As a lifer, a substantial component of the child I was, the young adult I transitioned into, and the woman I have evolved into today can be attributed to the 12 years I spent growing and thriving at Abington Friends, engaging with many of the same wonderful educators and mentors who have impacted your lives. There is much that has remained the same. As I traveled around the familiar lower school circle on a visit, I peeked in classrooms watching these little bodies full of energy, purposefully roaming from tables to floors to cozy corners, reading books that I read long ago. I recognized the wall-to-wall instruments in the music room, the student artwork hanging like wallpaper in almost every corner of the art room. And I flashed back to my favorite class, science, with Mrs. Mass. Galoshes, tadpoles, garnets, mica schists, the famous creek walk, and the unforgettable smell of the frog we dissected in 5th grade. I continued walking through the middle school, thinking about the week-long trip to Echo Hill that I hear 7th graders still go on. I remembered walking waist-deep in swamp mud, trudging along for what seemed like an eternity, surrounded by my classmates to reach the end. Facing fears, working as teams, building trust and long-lasting bonds. These are the experiences that the AFS faculty gives you, experiences that change how you think about yourself and the world. As I look around campus, now I see growth, a few more buildings, new classroom, larger sizes, as well as much growth in the diversity of the students here. There were 47 students in the class of 96. 8.5% of the class was African American. That's 4 students to be exact. I was always one of few African American students in my class as a lifer, but my learning environment was not void of images of people who looked like me. It was here that I learned about scholars, inventors, and artists who shared my ancestry. From lower school through upper school, I was able to find books in the library about African folk tales such as Anansi the Spider, or novels written by Zora Neale Hurston, James Baldwin, and Gloria Naylor. I learned about African and African American contributions to society in this community. I felt known and connected. When I got to upper school, a vivid memory came back. The announcement of the O.J. Simpson trial verdict in 1995, a decision that triggered intense division in our country. The whole upper school watched the verdict being read on TV. It was such a painful issue that in the following days, upper school faculty set aside lesson plans and transformed their classrooms into safe spaces for students to express their feelings and state their opinions. What I see now that I didn't see then was the courage and foresight of the upper school faculty to seize that moment as an opportunity for an entire community of young minds who were forming our own personal philosophies about race and justice to understand how to responsibly process and engage in dialogue about something that had polarized a nation. We began to learn how to engage in conversations about our differences without belittling one another. Pride. Our first diversity dialogue group, was created at the time by a group of students and a devoted teacher with all of these goals in mind, and it helped push the school towards greater inclusiveness. I hear from students that now the diversity program has evolved from that beginning. How amazing is it that today all of you, students and faculty, are engaged in these transformative and challenging conversations all the time. What a gift. What I hope I conveyed to you thus far is that as you prepare to leave Abington Friends to complete the next chapter of your life, all of your experiences as students here will have an enduring impact on your lives. Some you already understand, and some you will not understand until later in life. You may have heard the expression that hindsight is 20/20. It means that if you look back on a situation in the past, you will have a better understanding now that you've gotten through it. Now that I am 20 years ahead of where you all are today, I would like to tell you some things I would tell my 18-year-old self. Abington Friends has provided you with a safe space to cultivate your unique identity, to find your own voice, and most importantly, to be comfortable in your own skin. As a class, you all have helped one another learn the value of candor, cultural reciprocity, and the ability to create an environment in which diversity is embraced and celebrated. Increased diversity in our communities will prompt discussions about issues that can be polarizing, possibly highlighting intolerance rather than tolerance. If you find yourself in an environment of intolerance, know that you have been given the tools and are well prepared to elicit positive change in that situation. In the coming months, each of you will have one of the greatest expectations placed upon your shoulders, and that is to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life. I'm not sure why it was decided that by the time you graduate from high school, your life's experiences have been so robust and enlightening that at this juncture in life, you are supposed to be fully prepared to make that decision. Some of you have probably identified a career, set goals to reach a specific professional endpoint, and the presumption is you will be professionally happy ever after once you get there. In some cases, this scenario is exactly what will take place. However, for some, finding your life's work will look a bit different. My own pathway certainly wasn't straightforward, and it has taken some turns. In high school, I decided I wanted to be a dentist. Why? Because I love looking at my straight teeth after wearing braces for 2.5 years. It was that simple. I did my research and created a plan to get there. During my junior and senior summers, I worked as a dental assistant, picked the brains of the dentist, researched dental school requirements, and by high school graduation, I had a plan and all I needed to do was execute it. However, once I started the program at Cornell, I just wasn't in love with my classes, and finally, organic chemistry convinced me to change course. In that moment, I realized that I hadn't even considered an alternative career path, not because I was so passionate about dentistry, but because I had limited myself to only that one. I met with my academic advisor, and with his help, I created a new plan to major in biology and society with a theme in health and society that better fit my current interest. It was the right mix of science, sociology, and humanities, and I loved it. When college graduation neared, I knew 3 things. I wanted to come back to Philly. My coursework would allow me to work in a variety of fields, and I needed a job locked in within 3 to 6 months after graduation. During my job search, I came across a program called Teach Philadelphia, a program which trained college students in an 8-week intensive training program to become middle school apprentice teachers in the school district of Philadelphia. At that time, there was a shortage of middle school teachers in Philadelphia. I knew there also was a terrible shortage of state funding, and many schools lacked books and basic supplies. I taught for 2 years, believing that I could somehow provide my students with some small facets of my educational experience from AFS, even under these conditions. I had some successes and some failures, but ultimately I realized that although I loved teaching, working as a middle school teacher wasn't what I wanted to do permanently. I committed to returning to school and decided to pursue a Master's of Public Health at Drexel University because I knew I would be able to apply it in many different ways professionally. With my master's, I finally found a job I knew I would stay in. For the past 11 years, I have worked as a health educator in a pediatric sickle cell center. I have been able to combine my desire to work in the medical field, experience the rewards of being an educator while working towards improving the lives of an underserved population in the Philadelphia community. That was not my master plan from high school, but I know I have finally found the work I love. As you can see, reaching your professional endpoint may be more like traveling a winding road as opposed to being a straight shot. As you are embarking on this journey yourself, remember to ask yourself these questions. Am I doing something I want to do? Am I genuinely interested? And does this inspire me? I call this checking in. Take many opportunities to check in with yourself. Performing this task is essential at this phase in your life because as you evolve, so will your visualization of your future. Each of the seniors I had an opportunity to speak with on a recent visit verbalized that at some point during their time at Abington Friends, they experienced a mind shift. The shift was probably caused by a combination of experiences that reshaped their thought process. This is how life works. It is fluid and dynamic. It's not stagnant and unchanging. If you are living, you are changing, and there is no age when this stops, so it's never too late to chart a new course. Don't bury your curiosities simply because they may not be aligned with your initial plan. As a student at AFS, it is your curiosity that has facilitated your evolution into an intellectual being. The value of your curiosity and its relationship to learning doesn't cease once you graduate from high school. Sometimes we dismiss our curiosities and consider it as a distraction from the plans we've put in place to attain our academic and professional goals. I encourage you to allow your curiosity to guide some of your next steps. If you ever find yourself drawn to a particular topic or issue, or find yourself intrigued by working to improve one of the many facets of the human or environmental condition, please don't ignore it. You may be on the verge of discovering your passion. I truly believe if you are passionate about what you do, you will always be happy doing it. The most important advice I would tell my 18-year-old self is this: only you can define whether you are successful. Only you can determine what makes you happy, and never compare yourself or your journey to anyone else's. I'd like to leave you with this quote: "He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life." Muhammad Ali. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this monumental day in your lives. Best of luck, and I wish you much happiness and success. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. There we go. I'm I had to do that. I'm Eli Russell, and I'm a member of the Class Gift Committee, which convene throughout the year to determine a class gift worthy of such an awe-inspiring class. No easy task. We wanted to give a gift that would reflect not only our gratitude to Abington Friends School for the incredible education that we have received here, but also to reflect our legacy as a dynamic, positive, and community-minded class well into the future. Now, I don't want to give anything away, but the class gift starts with B and rhymes with ench. That's right, it's a bottle filling station with which your thirst you will quench. I'm happy to announce that the class of 2016's gift to the AFS community will be an easy H2O bottle filling station, which provides a rapid fill of water to quench thirst. In short, it's a fancy water fountain. It will be installed next to the physics room, providing a water source near the science wing and the senior hallway on Student Street. The Quaker value of stewardship compels us to take care of both our bodies and the environment. Hydration, of course, is essential for good health, and even mild dehydration can adversely affect learning as well as mental and physical performance. Of course. This gift also promotes sustainability, as bottle filling stations minimize plastic bottle waste. One feature of the fountain is a green ticker displaying how much waste the filler has saved. That's right, get ready to feel good about yourself every time you fill up your water bottle. But Eli, you cry, we don't have water bottles. Well, good news. We're also providing reusable AFS water bottles for the entire junior and senior classes. You get a water bottle. You get a water bottle. You get a water bottle. This gift is going to improve the everyday lives of AFS students and faculty, just as all of our lives have been impacted by our time here. Water, like the class of 2016, is vital and leaves a mark wherever it goes. Our class has been through deep water, uncharted waters, rough waters, hell and high water, but we've waded through it all together. As I conclude, I want to offer my own congratulations to the 319th graduating class of Abington Friends School. I've been honored to be your classmate since 5th grade, and as we prepare to be set adrift, I can't wait to see what aquatic metaphors come next. A river cuts through rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. That's a quote I found on the internet. Stay thirsty, 319.
So I've known Eli since middle school, and he's always kept me on my toes, but I have never really been excited about following him as a speaker. So bear with me, it will be a little different, I think. I do want to thank you, Eli, and the class of 2016. Last spring, when I met with each advisory group, I was impressed with the range and depth of your thoughts about your upper school experiences. You spoke about the curriculum, arts, athletics, diversity, community service, Quakerism, clubs and activities, daily life in the upper school, school spirit, and the importance of senior leadership. When you talked about senior leadership, you mentioned the need to take more responsibility as a class, the importance of leading with passion, and making sure all of you had opportunities to lead. You wanted to interact more with younger students in the upper school, and you wanted to take care of the lunchroom and your school in general. So it is fitting, in your interest in stewardship of the AFS environment, that you have donated a bottle filling station to the upper school. And, as Eli pointed out, thanks to your generosity, every member of the class of 2017 has a reusable AFS water bottle. So, on behalf of Abington Friends School, thank you, 319.
Good evening, friends. My name is Rich Norrie. I'm the head of Abington Friends School, and I feel so full of heart and so good to be with all of you tonight at such a wonderful moment of reflection on the values of this school community, the goodness of this place, and our intent in creating the types of young people that we see before us, and the vision for a world improved by the types of values that power this place. It is very good to be together in this moment to celebrate this group of young people. I have the perilous place in the program of being last among some very meaningful words shared. We are a very verbal community. You have heard a lot of words tonight, as is typical of us, very meaningful ones. I want to thank Anne and Josh and Chelsea and Eli and especially Camille Coleman for their beautiful reflections on what the AFS experience means and what we hope it leads to in your lives. I just want to share a couple of thoughts before we get to the main event, which is sending you on your way. This is a commencement, which means this is the beginning of the rest of your lives. And so you're soon to take some steps out of this place into an exciting adventure ahead of you. I just want to share a couple of thoughts. I was touched by Baccalaureate this past Sunday. Baccalaureate Meeting for Worship is a gathering of our seniors and their families, a chance to reflect on their time in the upper school. And normally, the senior class is fairly quiet in that meeting for worship. They're very accustomed to meeting for worship. They've had many opportunities to express themselves, and they often are fairly quiet. But you weren't as a class. We heard from many of you, and I was touched by the authenticity of your messages, the openness and vulnerability that you expressed. Many of the messages were about uncertainty. They were about gratitude for this place, a love you have for each other, a love you have for this community, a sense of fulfillment that you've come to in being here, and also a sense of uncertainty about what it means to leave, a sense of vulnerability about what's next, and am I ready, and have I peaked? And so, to me, that's a special kind of maturity. It takes a special kind of maturity to be able to be that open and authentic and honest at a moment like this. Quakers define a maturity in Quaker education that's different than being precocious, that's different than being impressive in your capabilities. The maturity we speak of is the ability to be open and authentic and real, and you certainly were able to do that. So I want to share a story with you as I think about what you expressed in Baccalaureate Meeting for Worship. My first year at Abington Friends School, 11 years ago, on Alumni Day, we had Meeting for Worship in May in the meeting house, and I was sitting on the facing bench, as you know where I sit, and the door was open opposite me, the sunlight was streaming in, and meeting had just begun, and this tiny figure, about this tall, walked into that open door, slowly, with the sunlight behind her, and she sat down, and then after some moments of silence in the Meeting for Worship, she stood to speak. And she introduced herself as Maria Peters. She was 91 years old. This was 2006, and she had retired from teaching at Abington Friends School in 1975. She was tiny, and yet she stood with this electric energy, this twinkle in her eye. And she told a story from when she was in high school. She grew up in Germany, and she went to a boarding school, and she told the story of a head of school that took her class camping in the Alps. I think I like this story because it's about a head of school. But he took them camping in the Alps, and she described a scene one night under the stars in front of a campfire in which he said to them, "I want you to know that you have everything you need and more." A very simple and profound message to say to people at that point in their lives. You have everything you need and more. That message stayed with her her entire life. And one thing I recognized in Maria Peters was this spark. There are some people whose inner light just shines so directly, so clearly, with such energy. We know those folks when we see them, and Maria Peters was certainly one of them. She was like that as a teacher. Deb Stauffer knew her and described this tiny science teacher standing on a desk at a lab table to give instructions so that she could be heard in her classroom. Bonnie Schorsch was telling me earlier today that she had the unique talent of being able to whistle and sing simultaneously 2 different tunes at a time. And in fact, it gave her such an intense headache to do so. She would only do it once a year for her students. And of course, once again, she was standing on a table to do it. But you just got a sense of the spiritual vitality of this woman. I learned a little bit more about her this week. She was born in 1915 in Breslau, Germany. Her father was a brilliant mathematician. They were a Jewish family growing up in Germany. She went to a remarkable school. She went to a school that was recently founded. It was part of a progressive tradition. The teachers were called by their first names. They had a lot of outdoor experience. The whole education was about finding meaning in your life from direct experience. Very Quaker, but it wasn't Quaker. So she had this remarkable schooling experience. But her senior year of school in Germany, the Jewish students, of which there were many at this progressive school, were not allowed to take the placement exams for higher education in Germany. It was the beginning of the overt oppression that the Nazi regime would bring to such horrible fruition over the next 10 and 15 years in Germany. At that moment, her school was moved to England, funded largely by British Quakers, and the school continued from 1933 to 1948 in England. Maria Peters' family left Germany in 1939, but she had already left to finish school in England. She went to college in England. She went on to teach refugees from the Basque region of Europe. She taught physically handicapped children. She taught at her alma mater for a while. And then she made her journey to the United States. And when I think about this person coming through all of the upheaval of 20th century Europe as a Jewish young woman whose family was scattered, whose school was relocated, whose journey was certainly uncertain, think of the uncertainty and vulnerability that she faced in her life. But I think the things that allowed her spirit to be burnished in such obvious ways well into her 90s were, first of all, this knowledge that she had everything she needed and more, and an intense conviction to live her beliefs. She was a peacemaker all through her life. She was one of the founding members of a communitarian society in Southampton, PA, dedicated to peacemaking and realizing community at its highest level. She was a lifelong educator. So I just want to lift up Maria Peters as an example, and I want to emphasize her message to you. You will certainly be challenged ahead in your life. It is a function of the human condition. It is nothing, it is not a case of misfortune. It is simply the world that you're heading into, the life that you're headed into. And I would suggest that challenge can do one of 2 things to you. It can either diminish your sense of self or diminish your sense of goodness and rightness in the world. Challenge can push you back and make you feel less. Or challenge can grow you, and maybe as importantly, grow your sense of goodness and possibility in the world. As you meet challenge, you grow and you see the goodness beyond you. There are 2 ways that you do this. One is by learning. Anytime that you are faced with challenge that can be insurmountable, could be roommate problems, could be hitting a wall academically, could be the loss of loved ones, could be uncertainty about your path, could be doing something really terrible that you can't see your way past. Whatever that challenge is that comes in your life, a first response can be, what can I learn? What can I do? Where are my resources? Who can I reach out to? How do I adapt? How do I develop a new capability for this? The second really focuses on the meaning of you have everything you need and more. And that is this concept of inner light. Within each one of you, you know from your education here, is an endless source of strength, of perspective, a way of knowing that has been complete in you and unbroken in you since your birth. It is not a talent to be developed, it's a capacity to be discovered. And the places where it's discovered are in times of great love, great challenge, and I forgot the third. But great something. And so what I mean to say to you is life will be challenging. but you have everything that you need and more. And every challenge that you face that deepens your sense of capability, deepens your sense of goodness in the world will lead you forward. And so we send you into the world so grateful for who you've become here, so excited about who you will yet become in the world. Congratulations, class of 2016. And now our diplomas. Lucia McLeod Finney. Elizabeth Marie Bolger. Lucy Breckenridge Silbaugh. Elias William Russell. Logan Thane. Samuel B. Kleiner. Jenna Michelle Cohn. Lena Ann Shalley. Ann Douglas Sayers. Ann Lloyd Silbaugh. Alexandra Gave. Sophia Ann Cameron. Matthew Thomas Sessa. Matthew A. Norden. Lee Jo Yao. Dai Xi. Carrie Marie LaCure. Olivia Sky Avery. Daniela Nitchinson. Jade Han Swisher. Li Zihao. Macarius Chung. Caitlin Elizabeth Botak. Nina Claire Lehman Harrod. Lev Aaron Greenstein. Matthew Ryan Yetter. David Michael Goulden Natoff.
Think we were psyching you out? Congratulations.
Maybe next year. Corey Samuel Goulden Natoff. Hannah M. Kaplan. Elena Sky Moreno. Grace Catherine Armstrong. Emma F. Bisbee. Jacob Jacobson. Matthias Charles Hausman. Lindsay Victoria Smeltzer. Daniel Francis Rothberg. Kong Bai Yi. Ma Lin Tao. Asia M. Turner. Chelsea Samantha Alexander. Jordan Nathaniel Shepard Baker. Tahir Sekou Andrews. Matthew Saul Pahupka. Rachel S. Yakobashvili.
We could be here a while. You want this? You might want to take that.
Jennifer Morgan Shepard.
Congratulations, Jenny.
Emrock Murtis Karamov.
Congratulations, Emrock.
Anthony Corey Crosby II. Kyle J. Edwards. Alexa Camille Middleton. Ona Haksa. I'll do that. Annie Rebecca Campbell.
They're so embarrassed.
Jake Gave. Catherine Emmeline Wellhofer. Maya Ruth Salvacion. Eric Brian Kong. Daniel Forrest O'Connor. Chandrith Scott Shea. Alexander Robert Rawl.
Congratulations, Alex.
Jacob Michael Christopher Agolia. Emily Page Thomas. Lauren Christine Bloom. Alicia Maria Valle. Jed Martin Panza. Joshua Max Diamond. Guan Run Chuen. Dong Han. Paige Kathleen Stanton. Claire Virginia Pitcairn. Shoshana Irene Greenberg. Samantha Allison Chisholm. Amara Helena Faith Malik. Evan K. Protkin. Emily Louise Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, the the 319th class of Abington Friends School, the class of 2016.